And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So there's a lot to discuss in today's video with regards to transfers. We have news with regards to a player that we were meant to sign that we no longer will, and we have news of a player that we've been linked to also being handed a massive blow with regards to that transfer. So not a great start to the day in terms of transfer news for Celtic. But before I do get into that, I want to discuss our pre-season friendly and the new training kit that's been released recently. So it was pretty quick turnaround actually. I'm surprised how fast it's actually gone. I mean, I miss watching Celtic play, but it's not that long away until we are back in friendly games. So of course, our first pre-season friendly is against Ayr United, Scott Brown's team, to kind of commemorate the opening of a new Somerset stand, and that's on the 5th of July. So, of course, a lot of players won't be available for that match, but some players include Nicholas Kuhn, Matt O'Reilly and Kyogo, who will all be available for that game. And ahead of that match, we have been basically shown the new training wear for this season. It's not available to buy until the 5th of July, which is the day of the Ayr United friendly, but you can pre-order it now, and it costs around £60 for a pre-match top to £38 for shorts. So the design is obviously a recent kind of Adidas releases. It's kind of similar to what we're used to, involving a stripe down the side of the shirts which goes down into the shorts, white with black sleeves. The majority of the gear is this kind of thing, as you can see on screen here. It is very nice. We are kind of still waiting now for an away kit to be released and a third kit. But you know, fans will be spending a lot of money on merchandise this season. It's not a cheap gear to wear, but we are one of Adidas's top earners, so I'm sure a lot of Celtic fans will be interested in hearing about that new training kit that's been released and will be available for purchase on the 5th of July. Yeah, but not too long now until we are back in kind of the build-up to the season, which is quite exciting. Transfer news has been hit or miss recently with Celtic. I mean, the main story we'll discuss in just a second is a bit of a blow. But we want to discuss this one as well, is with regards to a new centre-back. So there's been a lot of talk about where we need to strengthen this season. I think replacing Joe Hart is probably the main priority. That's gone pretty quiet in recent days. A lot of Celtic fans want to see Greg Taylor have some more competition at left-back. Of course, we've been linked to Kieran Tierney, but he's, again, injured. He got injured in the Euro game for Scotland. And of course, in terms of centre-back improvements as well, we've been linked to Flavius, Danny Lewick and Chris Mepham. And of course, one that was almost signed, sealed and basically came to Celtic in January was Scott McKenna, until he moved to Copenhagen instead. So now an Italian journalist, Nicolo Sciarra, has been mentioned that he's been offered to 2 Serie A clubs. Now, for me personally, Scott McKenna would be a good addition to Celtic, and I'd like to see this one happen. So it is a bit of a blow that he's now been offered to 2 Serie A clubs. He's got a good knowledge of the league. He's obviously from Scotland as well. Knows what it takes to play in this league. Has the right intensity as a player, and I think he'll be a good addition. And he's a player that can walk into the first team as well. I mean, of course, he'll have to perform very well, but it's better than signing these project players like Gustav Lagerbilk and Mark Nowacki, who, of course, we can all admit have struggled in their first season at Celtic. So someone like McKenna would be a good addition to us. And as we mentioned yesterday with Frank McAvenny, he said he thinks we need 5 first-team players that can walk into the first team before we even start making a dent in Europe. And I think McKenna could be one of those 5 players for sure if he was to sign for us. So it is a major blow that Nicolo Sciarra has mentioned that he's been offered to 2 Serie A clubs. He is a homegrown player who knows the league, of course, and Celtic could do a lot worse than acquiring the 27-year-old services. So hopefully that one does kind of collapse and we can still kind of be in the race to sign him. That would be ideal. Now let's discuss the main transfer story. As you can tell by the title, Shock Celtic Transfer Twist Amid a Celtic Pursuit. Now this is with regards to a player that was on loan with us last season. This is Paulo Bernardo. Now, this deal looks ever increasingly unlikely to happen now. So I'll read out the report first and we'll go over my thoughts on it as well, because I think it's a little bit disappointing. So the pursuit of Paulo Bernardo looks like it may be coming to an end, with the player earning €20,000 plus after tax at Benfica. Celtic believe the salary to be in excess of what they're willing to offer him. Now, this is kind of in contrast to recent reports I read that he would take a pay cut to get regular first team football at Celtic. He wants to move to Celtic. Celtic. He likes the club, he loves the fans, he enjoyed his time here. Of course, he had stints of really good form, mainly across the end of the year. In December time, he was really, really good. So we know that he can perform at this level to be a very good Celtic player going forward. I think Brendan Rodgers is a fan of him as well. That's probably why the club were so eager to sign him after this loan deal. They were trying to negotiate the deal down from the initial buyout clause in his loan deal. But it now looks like the wages could be the decisive factor for this transfer to collapse, which is a shame. I mean, I'm sure Paolo probably would want to maybe cut his wages a little bit just if he gets regular first team football. He seems like a player that's quite ambitious and he wants to, get that regular first team football. And there's clearly no real future for him at Benfica. So where does his future lie now? I'm not too sure. This is from a person called at CM Journal, so I'm not too sure how reliable they are, but they're posted by a very reliable Celtic page on X, so I would actually kind of believe that a little bit. Of course, we will follow this transfer development across the window and see how it develops, because it can change. Of course, things do change very quickly in the transfer window. But yeah, it would be a shame if we cannot get him in through the door. But for me personally, it's not a priority position. Yes, we need to strengthen midfield, but as I mentioned, the three positions I would be looking at first are, of course, goalkeeper being the main one. That's 100% the main one right there. Then either another left back to kind of fight for a place against Greg Taylor to add some more competition for him would be a good option as well. And of course, a couple of centre backs as well. 1 or 2 centre backs I think we need to sign as well. And you'll be looking at getting a striker in as well, because it looks like Hyango Oye is going to go to Belgium for KRC Genk. And it looks like Bojan Mavioski may go to Bologna in Italy, as Joshua Zirkzee looks more and more likely to go to Manchester United now, and he is their main kind of replacement priority for him. So you will be looking at Adam Ida, maybe try and get him in on a permanent deal. So Paulo Bernardo isn't the main focus right now. The ones are the ones we just mentioned just there. But it is still a major blow and a bit of a twist as well, because we kind of felt like this deal would be done pretty quickly after his loan deal finished and he went back to Portugal, but that's not been the case. He is on holiday. He said he wants his representatives to get the deal done, but that seems to have collapsed as things stand right now, which is disappointing. But as always, guys, I want to know your thoughts on everything we discussed in today's video. Do you like the look of the new training gear? Yes or no? I mean, it's pretty clean, let's be honest. Again, it is quite expensive. So it does feel like they are kind of pushing out as much gear as they can possible. But I know Celtic fans are one of the highest earners for Adidas, or Adidas. Yeah, well, yeah, they are. They produce Adidas a lot of money, basically. So let me know your thoughts on that. Also, with regards to this Paulo Bernardo and Scott McKenna transfers as well, I'd be keen to know your thoughts on both of those. Make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.